Guess this is our last episode of Talk Politics, and I brought somebody in tonight to talk about the campaign and just talk
Hi, all.
about. This is David Graham. He is my campaign manager. He's actually a black hat coal miner and a trucker from Logan County, and we wanted to come on and talk about the campaign, tell you how far we've come since how far we've come since the beginning, and just talk about the structure of the campaign and everything that's been accomplished with this campaign. And it would have never happened without folks like you. With this campaign we just started, we had two people in the coal fields. David come on. We had a vision. He's done an incredible job building the team that we have. A lot of our team is made up of West Virginians, and we've done a lot of great things this week. Because of y'all, we were able to get some broadcast TV ads. We have folks out all across the state getting out the vote, doing honking waves. We have people making hundreds of phone calls every day. I've made a lot of calls myself, but I wanted David to talk about the structure of the campaign, and you guys take ownership in this, and this is the people's campaign. And no matter what happens on November 3rd, we have made history. This is the first time in West Virginia history with the United States Senate race. We have raised y'all almost $2 million. The average donation has been $25. And if it wasn't for folks across the country investing in West Virginia and in my loud mouth saying we're struggling here, we wouldn't have gotten to this point. We've had so many West Virginians that's had to leave the state, that have donated time and dollars and invested in this campaign. But this is a 100% people-funded campaign, and it's the first time in West Virginia history that this has happened. And we've made history with the Democratic nominees for Congress. Every one of us are women, and none of us take corporate PAC dollars. And this is just us talking about the structure of the campaign and thanking you. Because if it wasn't for folks like you, this wouldn't have happened. So I'm just going to let David talk about what's going on with what's been happening internally, and talk about what's going on with the campaign.
Well, I mean, I don't really know where to start. We've got a lot of really awesome volunteers from here in West Virginia that are going around setting up what we call honking waves and doing lit drops. Making sure that we social distance, and we're basically leaving lit on people's porches, that sort of thing. So if you got anything like that, that's where it came from. We are people funded and a people ran campaign. We've got volunteers, all across the country that have stepped up and have been doing a lot of phone banking for the campaign, which is really, really important. It's a great way to reach voters. It's just been a really awesome experience overall working with the people on this campaign.
Yeah, everybody's been great. And this is my appeal to West Virginians. We have we're 49th and 50th in opportunity. And we have seen a movement not only within the state, but across the country of ordinary people running for office like myself. My goal was never to be a politician. I'm a mother and grandmother, and I've just struggled as a single mother, living in this state and fighting for my children for a long time, and now my grandchild. And I'm a Democrat because I stand behind democratic values. But right now we're in the fight for our lives, and we don't have to agree on everything. But moving forward, we have people that we can choose, and we don't have to choose between the lesser of two evils. I'm in this to be an actual public servant. This campaign has been 100% people funded. And it's, if I go to Washington, D.C., West Virginians are going to have a seat at the table in legislation that I introduce. So this is not red team versus blue team. And this is from people that live on the bottom trying to have a piece of the power that is owed to us, and putting the government back into the hands of the people. And I just want to, it would be an honor to get your vote and be an actual public servant and actually go to DC and serve you instead of corporations and lobbyists. We need economic diversity. We know that coal is not going to come back, no matter if we agree on it or not, or agree or disagree. We had over 170,000 140,000 coal miners in the 70s. We have less than 50 nationwide, and the rug has been pulled out from underneath us. My campaign manager is a black, he's been a coal miner himself. We've lived it in the coal fields. Some of the people in the coal fields live in impoverished conditions comparable to a third world country, and the industrial revolution was built on their backs, and the workers, our communities, and we have this industry has left us breadcrumbs. And if we do not think about diversifying our economy, then our children and grandchildren are not going to have a future. People in the coal fields now are living in impoverished conditions comparable to a third world country. We have cardboard for windows. We shouldn't be living, some of the people in these communities and even out in the northern panhandle where there's weird steel should not be suffering like we are. We have to invest in each other. If I say it all the time, I've told this story a bunch. If I ask my neighbor for a wrench, he doesn't ask me if I'm a Democrat or Republican. He comes over and he helps me and he brings his wrench. We have survived. We are some of the most resilient people in the world, and we have survived in spite of poor leadership. And this is making sure that we have true leadership for the change. And who better to serve us than us? This is about us fighting back and making sure that we have ownership of our government and our state has a chance to grow. We're dealing with one of the largest addiction crises in the country. And we cannot trust people like my opponent, Shelley Moore Capito, when one of her top donors is the pharmaceutical industry, when she helped create the problem. We have to invest in ourselves, y'all. We have to take our government back. So when you're going to the polls, let's not treat this like a football game. Divide and conquer is an age-old strategy. If they keep us fighting with each other, then they keep the power over us. And they're in a big club and we're not allowed in it. These people are corporate servants. They're not serving us. And I want to go to DC and make sure that we have a seat at the table for a change. And this is what it's about. And this is why I brought David on, is for you to see that this campaign is led by West Virginians. And we see all across the state, we have 43 candidates that swore off corporate PAC dollars like myself that just want to be people servants. We have people across the country with organizations like Brandon Congress. It's the same thing. This is not about playing partisan politics. This is about putting the government back into the hands of the people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I would say about this campaign. As a campaign manager, it's my job to oversee the campaign and the staff, but also, it takes a lot of money to run for office. Unfortunately, with the system that we have in place, we need campaign finance reform, plain and simple. But until we get it, this is sort of the cards that were dealt. So, most of our time, a lot of our time is spent trying to raise money just so we can compete with the big dark money being dumped into our state with candidates with politicians like the one that we're running against. So yeah, we're 100% people funded and 100% people powered.
If you told me 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I started fighting for clean water and clean air and economic diversity in our state, I was tired. I got so angered. I drank acid mine drainage when I was a little girl, and I'm a coal miner's daughter, and coal miners deserve clean water just like everybody else. And that's why I got to fighting, because we can have clean water, we can have clean air, we can have those jobs that we've always been promised. It's just they keep us divided. And again, I appeal to West Virginians. It's, I do not, this country girl doesn't want to go to DC. This is about survival for us. This was not my dream. And I'm going to be honest with you and transparent. This team and myself, we have put in 80 hours a week because, not only do we spend that time trying to raise the money, and getting those small donations, but you still have to have you still have to run a campaign. You still have to reach voters. There's so many tools behind the scenes, and it's hard, y'all. And I know a lot of these candidates, and especially, my congressional colleagues on the Democratic ticket, we're all women. It wasn't our dream. It's just us as women seeing what's going on with our state. And we're some of the most hospitable people in the world. And we are good people here. And, we're stigmatized across the country. We don't have no teeth, no shoes, no brains. We're treated like we're collateral damage. And it's not that way. There's no place in the world like home to me. And not only because the mountains and the beauty here, but it's the people. And right now, even with this pandemic, we're filling canning jars, we're sharing food, we're taking care of each other. We take care of our children that are poor in the poor parts of our state. If our educators and everybody in our community, we feed each other if we're hungry. We help each other. If I see my neighbor needs help in his yard, I help him. That's just who we are. And this is about us helping each other and having a fighting chance, because we have been abused by our government. In industry, there's a clear difference between being a friend of a coal miner and being a friend of a coal baron. I've seen how my government has treated me even when I lobbied. I lobbied Congress begging for our state, and I heard other representatives say, how can we help you if your representatives are not helping you? And if they're just a rubber stamp to special interests, they do not have our interest in mind. And so this has been hard, but it's been an honor, and I've been humbled. I've met so many great people across this state ever since I decided to run for office in 2018, and great people across the country. And this is our time to shine. And this is our time to make sure that West Virginians have a fighting chance from a local level to a federal level. And it doesn't end here with this election. Start thinking about running for office from a local level to a federal level. Start thinking about how we can continue to bring change in our communities, because we are all the time working in the front lines of our communities. When you have people serving us like my opponent, you have to get arrested in her office to even be heard. That's why I still, even today, my phone number is 304-894-7472. I give my phone number to everybody, because if I'm going to be an actual representative, I should be able to be reached. But this is just it. This is just the last live stream, and I just wanted you to see that, even though we're stigmatizing coal fields, this campaign has been incredible. It wasn't just me and David that's done it. Even though he's led the ship, there's been so many people behind the machine that has worked so hard for us. And we can do one thing right now, and that's vote. I voted today for myself, which is really weird, but also voted for some really good people.
I voted via absentee ballot. So.
But, what do we need the most right now besides votes?
Yeah, if you live in West Virginia, you call 3 people, get 3 people to vote with you, triple your vote. Allie, one of our campaign staff, just made a comment, reach out to your friends, get 3 friends to go out with you to the polls. And if you want to help out right now, you can phone bank, go to paulagene.com and, sign up to call voters in West Virginia. And if you live outside of West Virginia, you should know that we do have a chance to actually win. They want you to think that we can't win, that a 100% people funded campaign can't win, but we can. We need your help now. Go to paulagene.com, donate, even if it's $1, it makes a huge difference. Right now, we do have TV ads running, reaching voters. We're reaching voters with newspaper ads, all kinds of stuff. But it's because of contributions from, people all across the country. A lot of West Virginians, we have West Virginians all over the United States. It's crazy. As a truck driver, I can't tell you how many times I would meet someone in Oregon who was originally from West Virginia. People like that are donating to Paula Jean because they are, if you're from West Virginia, you're always a West Virginian, and they want to see West Virginia thrive. So we have a lot of West Virginians from around the country that are invested in this campaign because Paula Jean gives them hope. And
well, I'm the figurehead to this. Like I said, it's been like the longest job interview I've ever had, and it's been an honor. And it should be looked like that. We should look at campaigns like that. We should look at our representatives. We need to quit putting them on a pedestal. They work for us. We pay them to do a job. And corporations and lobbyists and special interest groups should not be allowed to come in and hijack their decisions. we need people, no matter who they are or whether they believe in blue, red, green, whatever, that are going to sit down and do their job. And their job is to serve the people, not special interest groups. We have to get dark money out of politics, and we have to start electing people like myself that just really wants to try real hard to make things better. I'll be honest with you. I'd cut my leg off for my children and my grandchild. And that's why I'm in this fight. I've had to worry if my children would get cancer just because of the mountaintop removal mine that Jim Justice operated less than 5 miles from my house. You know, I've drank that poison water. There's so many people across our state that still don't have access to clean, potable water. There's people in our state that don't have access to adequate sewage systems. As much as we have done to build the Industrial Revolution, when people turn on their light switch, it's because of the blood of Appalachians. And nobody in this state should have to beg for something so basic as a clean glass of water. And nobody should have to beg for jobs. Walmart should not be the biggest employer in West Virginia, and we can't even sustain Walmart in Boone County. You know, they treated us like collateral damage when they shipped massive amounts of pills in our communities, and they treat us like we don't matter. If we are going to survive, we're going to have to continue to stick together, stand up for each other like I see every day in our communities, and let these people know on November 3rd and moving forward, if they're not going to do their jobs, we're coming to take their jobs. It's a shame that you have to work this damn hard just for something so basic as human rights. And this is what this is about. This is this uniting, hashtag unite our fight. I had that as an activist before this campaign, because I know West Virginians, we can do this, and we have to just put a stop and a halt to the corruption in our state. And that's my rant for the night, but that's just it. I just wanted to take a second. We can't be here very long. You know, it's really close to the election. If you guys need us at all, please feel free to reach out. And let's just do this, y'all. That moving forward, let's just make sure that we hold these people accountable, because no child should have to suffer in this state like I've seen children suffer. They should not be, children should not be worried about, the food in their bellies. They should be worried about playing video games, playing outside, and getting an education. Yeah. And even now, with COVID, so many small businesses have closed. We see children in poor communities that are suffering with the addiction epidemic, and we're already struggling. I could not imagine at this time and moment being a child anywhere in America, but especially in this state, as hard as people suffer. And we can't do this anymore, y'all. We can't be 49th and 50th in opportunity. We need to be the West Virginians that I know and love. And it's not even a vote for me. Look at all these other candidates. Look at these other congressional candidates in other states, because they make decisions for us. And it's actually put people in place that are going to have our best benefit at heart and just not be corrupt. And that's just these political dynasties of corruption that has went on for decades and decades and decades, especially here in West Virginia. It's got to stop, or people are going to continue to leave this state, and our children are going to suffer from their dirty deeds if we don't do something and we don't fight back. But that's it. I don't see any questions. I did see one question earlier. What next if we lose? Well, it's not over. Like I said, the movement continues, and I'm not going anywhere. It would be a shame if, we've worked this hard with this team and all these other candidates across the state, if we just give up. So, win or lose, we're not done. We're not done. And, we're going to still continue to try to put the power back. Any more questions?
Cool comments.
Yeah, very good comments. I don't know who Lisa Savage is in Maine. I'm sorry. If you send me more info, I'll look her up, and I'll do some vetting, and I'll let you know. All right, y'all. I guess that's it. I'm not seeing any more questions. I'm just so proud of y'all. thank you. I'm so humbled by everything that you've done for us. And let's take this across the finish line.